guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Liz, and today we're going to be doing my March 2021 setup video for my bullet journal. And I just wanted to start off with a flip through of February so you guys can see again what I did there with my self-care, self-love theme. So just a quick flip through with the monthly calendar and my dandelions, my compliment log, and my habit tracker, which clearly I did terribly in all important things. I did manage to drink water as often as I was supposed to, and I slept pretty well most of the time, and I stopped myself from snacking. But aside from that, not a great... I actually read 2 books in that amount of time, so not terrible on reading. I set myself a goal of reading 2 books a month. I read 2 in 2 weeks, and then I just was like, I'll take a break. No need to stress ourselves out. My self-care bingo, at this point, there's about a week left at the time of filming in the month, and my self-care bingo, I have done a few things several times. You can see the darker ones. This one every day because I work from home. So I use my brain dump again mostly to come up with theme ideas for the following month. So there's a bit of a spoiler in there as I really roughly sketched out some things. This is the weekly layout that I went with for the entire month. I like to keep my weeklies the same each month. I know in January I mixed it up weekly, but that's because I was playing with that theme and that background that I had. But generally I do keep my themes, my weekly pages set up very similarly. Didn't use it very much that month, but each page has a quote focusing on self-love and positive thoughts. And then you can see I use this one quite a bit more. And then we're just beginning in this one. And again, my quote here kind of ties into the following month theme, which is going to be keys. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. This month's theme, as I said, is keys, and the color palette is gold, silver, and black. I started off with everything outlined in pencil prior to recording as usual, and I used my Helix circle stencil and a regular ruler for a lot of these sketches. So I started coloring in the cover page with my Tombow Dual Brush Pen in 055, and I'll go in after with my Uni Posca paint pen in gold over that. I tried this a few different ways, but this was the best way that I was able to get like a really shiny, bright gold look. For the header of the month, I just went with a tall, skinny, capitalized M-A-R. I didn't add in the C-H because I didn't think it was necessary, and I kind of just liked the way that it looked with the 3 letters, the abbreviated March. One thing I will say with using the Uni Posca paint pens on this paper, it holds up really well, but because I was doing it over the yellow color, I guess, or something, it was not painting like it would have if I was doing it over like the blank paper. So I ended up having to go over a couple of spaces twice, and overall I'm still really happy with the way that the key turned out. I just took a lot longer to colored in and I had to use these short little brush strokes the entire time. Go back over it with yellow because I wanted you to really be able to see like the yellow aspect to the gold. For the quote, and really for all of the text in the setup, I went with this tall, skinny print font, like a sans serif. The quote on this page says, "Never put the key to your happiness in someone else's pocket," which I think ties in really well with last month's self-love theme and the overall 2021 theme of self-confidence, self-love, you know, acceptance of all of our flaws. So I accented the word key in silver and the word happiness in gold, and then just went a little bit bolder in black for the word pocket, and I'm really happy with how this quote turned out. Now this lock or keyhole or whatever you want to call it took so long to finish. So long. And my hand was definitely hurting by the end of it from all the tiny brush strokes. But I will say that the lock or keyhole or whatever you want to call it is probably my favorite element on this spread and on every spread that I include one of these keyholes on. So the outer rim in gold on the blank paper, so it's not as yellow or as vibrant as the key on the other page. I did the keyhole and I guess where you would screw the, lock into the wall. I filled in with black so it looks like holes. And then the inner part of it I did in silver, really painstakingly kind of going around all of these tiny little gold elements, which is what made it take so long and probably what made it hurt my hand so much. But again, just really happy with the overall look of this lock. And then there you can see kind of the shiny effects of the silver and gold paint pens on the paper. Moving on to my 2-page calendar spread. I am really enjoying starting my weeks on Mondays. It's been really helpful to have the whole weekend to plan out my weeklies in advance and fill them in without having to worry about doing it for sure on Friday evening or sometimes Saturday. I can do it Sunday, which is my least busy day usually. So I am going to continue with starting my monthlies and my weeklies on Mondays, ending them on Sundays. I know some people are like, what are you doing? Because that's not what normal calendars look like, but this is what works best for me. I basically just outlined everything in black. And I had used a ruler for the pencil outline. I did not use a ruler when I was doing it by hand, so the lines are not perfectly straight. I'm okay at doing straight lines by hand. I kind of use the pull your whole arm to yourself method that most people will tell you is the easiest way to do it. I will say it's exceedingly difficult rather, to do it while you're trying to keep the book in a position where the camera can see it. And my head isn't bent over getting in the way. So it's less straight on these videos that I record than it is on on spreads that I don't record. Like my other weekly spreads will have much straighter lines because I'll be able to hold it in a more comfortable position for myself. So again, that same tall, skinny, all caps, sans serif font for the headers and for the title. And then I did alternating gold and silver for the days, so I went in with the gold for all of those odd days and then silver for all of the even numbered days in March. And then I kind of drew little lines through these days that I wasn't going to need. I left them in there because I like the balanced look of the full square. And it just gives you a little extra place to do like a simple pattern type of, doodle. And then in gold here, I did my goals section for some really basic just goals. And I used keyholes for the bullet points, which I thought was really cute. So I do continue that going forward in a lot of the weekly, it shows up again in the weekly spread and things like that. Here I did some basic key designs. They're all kind of old looking and skeleton-y, but they show that you could easily just do like a pattern of random keys rather than a giant key like I did on my cover page. It could easily just be like a pattern of silver and gold keys with different varying styles on them. Probably the one complaint that I have about these keys is that on the shamrock style one, on the infinity symbol themed one, and also on the heart one, is that the actual part of the key you would hold seems a bit thin. Like these keys would break off the first time you tried to turn them in a lock, but they are cute and they're still my favorite ones because they're so dainty looking. I just, looking back at it now during this voiceover, realizing that it probably wouldn't be realistic for a key to be that dainty. So I started to move to the next page and then decided that this page needed something. So I went back and just added a quick drop shadow, shadowed with lines to kind of give it some more depth because it was feeling a little bit flat. And I really think that this drop shadow just kind of helps with giving it a little bit more dimension. Up is our habit and mood tracker. Like normal, I'm just doing boxes in the shape of the monthly calendars that I'll fill in with lines so that each box is its own individual little box. I'm also using the tall, skinny, all caps sans serif font that I'm using throughout the spread for the same titles. It's for all the titles. And this month I'm returning to a ketogenic diet, so I will track whether or not I stuck to the keto foods, whether I drank, 64 ounces or more of water, whether I exercised rather, if I was connecting with loved ones, if I did any reading, and then of course a weekly weigh-in to track my personal health and fitness goals. For the mood tracker, I drew this grid of numbers and these little really basic keys, a heart one, a circle one, etc. Depending on the mood I have that day, I will just draw that particular key in that color gold for the better days, silver for the worst days, which will also carry over to the habit trackers. If I meet the goals, I will color those squares in gold. If I don't meet the goals, whether it was a little bit or a lot that I missed by, I will color it in silver. And then really quickly here, I'm going to set up a 2 lines a day, which is actually really like a 1 line a day since I've split it down the middle, but that doesn't matter. I'm just gonna write out the numbers for each of the days of the month, and again, just do the title in the same kind of font, which I thought looked a little bit too basic, so I kind of did like some little lines, and I doodled a couple of keys to just kind of tie it in a little bit more and make it a little bit less super basic in terms of a spread. Okay, so this month I'm planning a lot of big things that are coming up soon. So I did a 2-page brain dump. We are building me a home office and redoing our deck in the backyard. So I need room to plan all of the elements of that because we are building it ourselves. I'm also planning a rather large trip out of state coming up soon. So I needed room to plan that as well. So I did a 2-page brain dump. I did the outline, I did the title in the same font that I've been using. I set up a shamrock key doodle in the top left and another keyhole or lock in the bottom right. Keys are my favorite thing, like they're my symbol, if you will. I love key jewelry, I love key art, I love key wall decor. Keys are my thing. So I went with a shamrock shaped key on this page to kind of tie it into the whole March St. Patrick's Day. I know a lot of people do shamrocks for their themes. I know that a lot of people do overall like green plants and Irish things. I am Irish, but I just didn't want to do something so predictable. Also, I did green a lot in February and I didn't want to have 2 green themes in a row. So I took a lot of time to consider my options and just really loved the idea of doing a keys theme for March. And the fact that the keys are gold kind of ties it into the whole Luck of the Irish, pot of gold, leprechaun thing. And the shamrock shape of the key also ties into that St. Patrick's Day vibe without being, you know, bright green and colorful in that way. Again, these locks take so long to finish, so I'll take the opportunity here to once again discuss my nails by Color Street from my friend Lainey in Washington State. This month's nails all came from the Valentine's Day set. So these ones I believe are called Love Letter, Love Note, something like that. They're white with little hearts and the words love and things like that. I recorded this, like I guess on the 20th or the 21st of February. I know I'm posting it super late. That's because I had some other things come up. I was out of town and I didn't get around to editing it in advance, but I wanted to go ahead and post it for those people who want to see it, maybe for inspiration for April, or just because they like to see all the bullet journaling videos out there. I'm gonna go ahead and post this video anyway, but that's why it's now March and I still have February Valentine's Day nails on, because it was February when I was doing this. And the final page that we're going to do in this setup video is my weekly spread. I use this same weekly setup every week in February as well. I did not include it in my setup, so I wanted to go ahead and make sure that it was in this one and that I went over it Basically, I start with this big box on the left page that is 28 boxes wide and 38 boxes long, and I split that into a 2-box border across the top and across the left, and then I put it into 2 7-box columns, one for work, one for home, for tasks, and then I leave the rest of the section for notes, which I put the weather in and just any thoughts of the day, like overwhelming feelings or, you know, reminders that don't really fall under work or home category, thoughts that I have, things like that. And then on the right page, I have a 12-box wide, 38-box long column for tasks with each day of the week, so I can mark off when those tasks are completed. I have a thoughts box at the top and a next week box at the bottom for things that are coming up, and then a final key doodle and a quote that says, "The key is to be who you are and to not lock yourself away from those who love you." And it was so satisfying when I was sketching it out in pencil. It was just like the right sizing, the right positioning, the first time. It was so nice. So I really love this weekly spread. It works really well for me. It's straightforward, it's informational, it's really kind of packed with content, and I'm probably going to continue this kind of layout for a long time to come, just because it does really work for me and I enjoy having the organizational space for those things. Of course, you could doodle across the top. I did that a lot in February with the plants that I was doing. I didn't want to do just a bunch of random keys or anything like that up on this page, so I kind of just left it blank. But you could easily add some doodles up there, or another quote, or just like lines, general shapes. That is basically it. We're going to do the final flip through of the pages that we set up today. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching this video. I hope that you found something beneficial in it, whether it was a quote or a theme idea or a layout idea. Let me know if there's anything you would want to see more of, or what your theme ideas are coming up for April, what you guys did this month in March. But yeah, that's everything that I did. My hand hurts so much after all of these pages. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. This again is Liz, and I will see you guys next time.